It's called the 24. Participants paddle and row for 24 hours straight in a unique show of support.
It's not a race. It's an event.
Whoa, it's a tradition passed on for generations. See how fire, water, and time combine to shape a canoe. These stories and more coming up next on CityStream. Hello, I'm Jeff Renner. Welcome to CityStream from the Center for Wooden Boats. This maritime museum is a hub of hands-on learning. You can take a class, build a boat, rent a canoe, a kayak, even a sailboat. More on that in just a minute. Nearby, a flotilla of human-powered craft, ranging from outriggers to paddleboards, set out on a 24-hour challenge. It was not a competition. There were no prizes that were given, but rewarding? Absolutely. During this time of year when we give thanks, compassion and generosity fuel acts of kindness when some people need them most. This is the story of the 24.
It's finally here. It's Saturday, and the weather's a little miserable today, but we'll take it. People are showing up, all the boats, and it's cool. It's the 24. So it's a 24-hour relay paddle. It's not a race. It's an event. Thank you for being here. This doesn't work without all you guys saying yes, and it's pretty fantastic to be part of this community and part of what we got going on. It's also really cool to know that 26 places around the United States and Canada are doing this exact same thing today. And each of those cities has multiple teams. Cancer isn't choosy, and it's for everybody. So many teams filled with young kids, adults, grandmas, grandpas, and diversity of craft. We have stand-up, prone paddle, we have OC, outrigger canoes. The whole purpose of it is to kind of bring people together and to do what they love.
I'm kind of amped up by today's events because this is important to us, and it's just exciting. It's nice to be back on the water too and be surrounded by so many people and friends.
There's 3 group paddles, 8 a.m., 11 p.m. leading up to midnight, and then we all finish together as a group at 7 a.m. the next morning. First hour down, which is fantastic. Got everybody out on the water and kind of get the morning shakes out.
It was really lovely. It's like making up lost time on the water. 24 hours to do it.
After that first initial group paddle, it breaks down into pairs. So you have you and your buddy. You paddle for an hour, you come back, you tag in the next pair, and away they go.
It's good reflection, inward perspective time. Yeah, thinking about all my friends. Yeah.
People ask a lot, like, why 24 hours? And the reason is because it's not easy, and it requires everybody sort of coming together and helping. It's in by no means anywhere close to what the cancer experience is, but it's just like a small sliver of the terror of that. 2013, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer.
It was surreal. I could feel myself kind of, shaking a little bit, trying to figure out, it didn't register that what I'd heard was real, because it's not something that I ever thought that I would hear.
All of a sudden, the room sort of closes in on you. Sound disappears. You kind of, you sort of hear your insides working. After we kind of got through that challenge, her neck went boop. And we went back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, let's just kind of take out that grumpy part of your thyroid. And the doctor came out about 30 minutes into the surgery, and she said, we had to sew her back up because it's cancer again.
It rocked our world, for sure.
Paddling for me has been a place of peace and passion and reward. And I was sitting out in the middle of the lake one day after kind of hearing all that news, right? Because when someone says the word cancer, you're sitting on the other end of that word. And the only way I can describe it is, you remember when you were a little kid and you would go down to the bottom of a pool and you'd be down there with your friends or whatever, and you'd play that game where like everybody would scream, right? Where you're like just screaming your guts out. And then you come up and no one heard anything. And it's tough, it's really difficult. And so being out on the water and paddling that day, I tried to figure out if there was a way to help people and to help families who were going through something similar.
You ready? Before he goes?
Boom. Boom. Yeah, buddy.
You're two, I love it.
Right on, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There are wonderful organizations out there that do incredible things. There was one place where I felt like that felt a little neglected, and that was at that moment when cancer enters the conversation.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, when we found out the kids all had the flu, and then he never kicked his fever. And the fever never went away completely. He just started limping all the time.
I go right. Want to go right? Okay.
People kept talking, and you don't really register everything that they're saying because it's just like, wow.
You're numb from the situation.
Never thought that would be our family.
When you first get diagnosed, there's a lot of talk. And at that moment, you're not thinking about victory laps or cures or anything like that. You're thinking about, is this going to kill me? How am I going to pay the bills? My original thought was t-shirts and hats and all this stuff, and take a percentage of that and give it to families. That's a really long road to be able to make a difference. But with an event like the 24, it's like, maybe we can just, go crazy for 24 hours and raise as much as we can, and then help on a bigger scale. Starting to get dark, starting to get a little tired. It's this is when things started to shift over.
I think the adrenaline is kind of wearing off. I haven't had coffee yet, though. This is paddle number 5, I think, and we're past halfway.
The way that we do it is we take $1,000, put it in an envelope, and we make sure that it finds these families who need it. It's like an opportunity to be normal again for just half a second. Pay an extra bill, go to the movies, put gas in the car, things like that. Our first year we ended up, our goal was to raise $5,000, and we ended up raising $7,000. The second year we ended up raising $45,000. The third year we had 22 cities, and collectively as a group it was $152,000. With each of these cities, the money stays in that community.
When we found this envelope full of cash, everybody was starving, you know, and I think that we had a number of meals that people had donated, but they're like all in the freezer, you know, and some of them, the kids are like, oh, I don't want to eat that, that's weird or whatever. And I was like, let's order pizza. And that's what it brings, you know, it brings just a little bit of normalcy of like, you know what, things are, you know, rough right now, rough waters, but hey, we're with you, we support you. Jonas has been in remission for 1 year, and you know, that's just fantastic for us. But we also know that there's other families that are in different place.
You know, cancer has this unfortunate statistic of 1 in 3 people. And so, sadly, it's not difficult to find somebody who needs it. That midnight paddle, that's sort of an infusion of energy, you know, because there's like all these people who are they're excited to be out and participating, and you know, like this lights up.
I think it was serendipitous that we paddled last year with Team Bellingham. And it was like midnight, it was super cold. And then I remember that was last April, and then end of May, Q got his diagnosis, and well, it was a late Friday night. We were sitting in a small corner room in the ER of Everett Hospital, and I heard the word leukemia. It didn't register that it was cancer, or maybe it was just immediate denial. So I'm like, literally like 7 days later, Brian Smart walks in from Team Bellingham into the hospital room with a little amazing slashed envelope. I remember Googling one night at the hospital, and I don't recommend anyone Googling anything about any disease that they're diagnosed with, but my stomach dropped, and I got really scared, like, and I panicked. And I think that was a moment. I don't think he realizes the probability of surviving this, or.
This is the most rewarding and heartbreaking thing all at the same time. There's some tough realities. The first year, those 7 envelopes that we gave out, 6 of those people passed away. You know, I think sometimes you get so focused on high-fiving and you know all of that you maybe forget a little bit about why you're there. And people really do need help. And this isn't messing around. This isn't, you know, a walk in the park for anybody. It's you know, cancer scares people for a reason.
So I was there for the start, and then I get cold pretty easy since the transplant. So in my case, I got a double cord blood stem cell transplant. So from two different little girls. I lucked out.
That's it.
I really lucked out. And I've had Tron supporting me through this whole thing. There's people out there, I'm sure, that don't have people like her. I have no idea how I would have made it this far. Looking good, gang! Looking good!
You know, this year in multiple places, there are envelope recipients who are coming to paddle.
For us, it's so meaningful and so important. And I know Q was a little worried about me doing this, running myself ragged and burning out, but that's just who I am. I feel like we had to do this. This is just meaningful to us.
It would be amazing if this idea sparked that kind of interest and desire in here for other folks.
I would say we do this, huh?
I don't know what it is, but there's something about the water and the type of heart it attracts.
All these guys, it's all donation, it's all free. Everybody's just giving and giving and giving, and nobody's getting a thing in return except for the satisfaction of helping other people.
It's like the bat signal. Troy puts a call out and all paddlers from all walks of life come like out of the woodwork from everywhere.
They do, or they'll go paddling in the mornings and pass the hat around and pop up with $400 or something to pass on the Santa paddle they've done. Somehow that's turned into people just coming and helping out. I mean, yeah.
It shows kind of the passion that Troy has, you know. It takes somebody to be pushing and driving and organizing, and he's the perfect person.
Ding ding. Let's call that 24 hours.
It's been a tremendous 24 hours. You know, surrounded by good people and friends, and we got people coming down to, you know, cheer us on, to bring us in.
I mean, the support, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how important that's been.
It touches, I think, the people that are doing it as much, if not more, than the people that they're raising money for.
Inspire and help. That is the goal.
This year, 154 families will benefit from the 24. If you'd like to learn more, go to monsterandseed.com. Next on CityStream, fire, water, and rocks. Take the basics, add some ancient know-how, and a log is transformed into a canoe.
It's really magical. It comes from within.
CityStream returns from the Center for Wooden Boats. The indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest created this region's first wooden boats, carved from logs. Now, the process of steaming and shaping the canoes by hand gives them that graceful curve, that distinctive look. And it's a tradition that's been handed down through generations.
Five o'clock. Gathering and getting the wood, it's important. And how we have attitude, who started. We're making a fire to heat rocks here at the South Lake Union. Working under Antioch College and United Indians and the Center for Wooden Boats. And to spread a canoe, a little dugout canoe, we made 18 feet. These were donated from the Catholic Church, and they had a few trees, and we're honoring them, bring honor to them, not just make firewood, but use something and show the young ones that we could make a difference and make them. It's about teaching them about balance, about working together, diversity, bringing peoples and helping each other in a way where we can make impact in a good setting, good example. Put some more sand over there and pull this one out a little bit. It'll take up to about 10, 12 hours. After the rock, probably about 11, we're going to start putting them in the canoe. Throughout the day, I'm looking for a lot of people to be stopping by here. Moai's opening and Center for Wooden Boats. The song is a feast song. It's about connection, importance of air, water, and the human. Whoa, yo, yo, yeah. I just, invite people to come and share their spirit. They're welcome to come and watch and participate.
I think it's a real good thing for the youth around here in Seattle. When I was here, there wasn't much to do here as far as where our culture comes from and learning our culture. I actually had to travel home. I'm from Swinomish. So this is a good thing what they're doing here because it teaches about who we are as Pacific Northwest natives.
We heat the rock, and every 20 minutes, go ahead and take these off. We're going to change them into the canoe. It helps to change the body of the tree, transform it into a canoe, put the beauty, the final beauty marks on it, opening it up and giving it life.
This is, I think, like number 8 canoe that Saaduuts has worked on.
Whoa, yo, yo, yeah.
It's important. I think it's very important to give them the culture. This is their life, carving and singing and dancing and being out in the rain down at the beach. It shows them that we are still here. That's why I'm here. That's why it's important.
The positive is to watch people come and go, is that it opens up not only the canoe, but I believe that they get touched in a good way by allowing them to come and be part of it. Transforming a canoe it's really magical. It comes from within. Sometimes it takes 30 hours, so you have to be ready for the journey. Gotta keep the fire burning.
And now we're with a man that you saw featured in that previous story, Saaduuts Peele. Saaduuts is a Haida First Nations member and also a long-term instructor here at the Center for Wooden Boats. Saaduuts, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit more. So the steaming and heating process, it actually does soften and allow you to shape the cedar.
What happens is that the rocks heat, you have salt water in here, and I call it awakening the fibers, awakening the canoes, the log. Put them in the center here, up as many as maybe 300-400 pounds, depends on what you want and to awaken them. How you relate to that is putting them in it like every 20 minutes. And you know that it starts flexing when it's steaming it open. It's not burning it open, it's steaming it with the water. And you make sure the salt water is about at least a little less than half full all the time. And then you open it, put spreader bars in there, and cover it as much as you can, and wait 20 minutes and reply, and then when you know it's flexing, then you know the canoe's awake.
When you're transferring this knowledge that have been passed down generation to generation to young people, how does that make you feel when you see them absorbing that and applying it?
Very honored, and it's just gratitude about seeing it. I'm very happy to see it because they want to do it. They want to do it, and I appreciate to see the encouragement of all young people, It's just incredible cultural connection.
Saaduuts Peele, thank you so much.
Hawa. Thank you.
This is a historic cat rig sailboat known as a kitten. The Seattle Yacht Club made these in the 1920s for their sailing programs. This one was discovered in Bellevue and may be the last of its kind. The Center for Wooden Boats decided this is important maritime history, so they're reproducing the kitten. Marine architects transferred over all the lines. A frame and molds were built. And now the first of several new sailboats is taking shape. And that is happening in the Center for Wooden Boats' new showcase, the Wagner Education Center. Let's bring in Executive Director Brant Fotz. Brant, thanks so much for letting us come in and see this fabulous new facility. This was named after the center's original founder, was it not?
That's right. Dick Wagner founded the Center for Wooden Boats back in 1976, 42 years ago.
Tell us a little bit more about this building.
So this building is designed to conjure up the image of the wooden boat-based businesses that used to line Lake Union back in the days before fiberglass became the predominant construction material for boats. And it's designed by the architect Olsen Kundig. It has a 2,000 square foot boat shop, which we're standing in here. It's got an 1,100 square foot classroom, and it's also got space for exhibits, artifact boats and interpretive exhibits.
You mentioned programs. Tell us a little bit more about the classes, the programs that you offer here, and is it true that anybody can rent a boat?
Absolutely. So one program we have is our cast-off public sail program. Every Sunday we take people on free boat rides on the lake, and that's in sailboats. We have a steam launch called Puffin, all kinds of different boats. We have youth programs that range from field trips where the kids come down and they build a toy boat and they learn to paddle and go out on a skin boat called an umiak and learn about the lake. And then we also have youth sailing and woodworking camps where the parents drop off their kids 5 days in a row and either learn to sail or they might build a canoe or whatnot. And then we have adult programs. People can learn to sail, they can learn weather, they can learn navigation, they can even get their captain's license.
Brent, you talked about the children's programs here. When you see kids in their encounter with boats in the water, are there any particular stories that really come to mind that you enjoy?
Well, one of my favorites is just watching Brant Lodge, our field trip coordinator, get 20 kids organized and paddling together. So he takes them out on what we call the back porch out behind our boathouse and puts a paddle in their hand, shows them how to hold it. He sings a Haida song that is used as a paddling song. It kind of creates the rhythm and gets them going, and then they all carefully climb into the umiak and paddle around the lake.
Brant Fotz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff.
That wraps up this episode of CityStream from the Center for Wooden Boats. For more information on their programs here or how to rent a boat, go to cwb.org. I'm Jeff Renner. Thanks for watching. To learn more about CityStream and the Seattle channel, find us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also watch us on our Comcast HD channel 321 and on Wave Cable channel 721.